Make sure we got this. I want to stand it up. See what we got here. So yeah, he was. Let's see. Where you at? There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, so he was it's a little delay.
Yeah, it's usually like a little 20-second delay.
Okay. Yeah, this is yeah, I'm about to get used to this. So they have a software. It's definitely a 20-second delay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just part of it.
Okay.
It's not your equipment. It just is what it is.
Okay. Yeah. So before we get into that, he was just talking about like before he got out of there, he dropped a bar on how to find ideas. Because a guy asked a question about how do you shake creator's block?
Mm.
And he told us to go to answerthepublic.com for ideas, and that was pretty fire. You could just type in you can type in a topic and it'll bring up hella questions
That's
based off of that. I'm not even sure if I want to use this. This delay thing is going to mess me up.
Well, like what I did was because if you're hearing yourself echo, if you're on your computer and you cancel out of it on your computer screen, but you have it up on your phone and just keep your phone muted, like you'll still be live if you X out of the screen. You have to actually, like, if you want to bring it back up after this is over with and you end live, that's when you end your live stream. Because I did the same thing. Like hearing my voice like reverberate back to me, I was like, I don't like that. So I canceled out the screen.
Out the screen.
Yeah. I canceled out the screen. It's still streaming live on Zoom right now, like to YouTube, even if you cancel out the YouTube screen that you have up.
Got you. Now it's lit. Now
there you go.
lit.
So you don't hear that.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
So close out YouTube and just keep running Zoom.
Yeah. And then, you know what I'm saying? I had it up when I did my webinar. I had it up on my phone, but I had the phone here. The YouTube screen. Here you go, because I have it right here. I had my phone up right here, right? You see that? You look at that.
Yeah.
And that's how I monitor my comments. That my comments that were coming in, I look at my phone, but I have it just muted.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, trial and error. I know now.
Yeah.
But first off, I'd like to welcome you to Rap and Dough for one.
Appreciate it,
right?
Man.
The home of money conversations and Black entrepreneurship. And for the people, I just met Royal the other day in a mastermind, and that's the power of masterminds. I don't think I would have ever met you if it wasn't for the mastermind.
You know what's crazy? Right? I've definitely heard your name before multiple times. Just like passing in tweets and hearing and seeing the name. I've definitely seen it before, for sure.
That's fire.
Yeah, I just didn't. It kind of clicked when you were in the mastermind and you talked about getting, like you said, getting a new iMac. And then you were like, for the podcast, and I looked and I saw something. And I was like, oh, that's Rap and Dough. Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
It's power in getting in rooms with other people that think like you, man. It's just, if you have an opportunity, anybody listen to this, you got the opportunity to get in these rooms with like minds, take advantage of it, because, outside out here, we have other people that we come in contact with that are not necessarily of the same mindset. You know what I mean? So it's refreshing to get in these rooms with like-minded people. But give them a little background on yourself, Royal.
Yeah, for sure. My name is Royal Banks. That's my real name, my government
Royal
name.
Banks. Oh, shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I am an active duty Army officer. So I'm stationed way out in West Texas, almost really on the border of Mexico, in a city called El Paso, Texas.
Okay.
Um, I am a long-term stockholder, investor, crypto investor, long-term. Um, I own two
Fire.
properties. So a regular house out in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and a mobile home as well. So,
Mm.
before I started Assurance DNA, I was in mobile home investing. And I own Assurance DNA, a paternity testing service serving nationwide. And I'm also the founder of Paternity University. So that's me.
Ooh, Army officer.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been in the Army what? Almost what?
Going on 9 years on May 10th.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting business. I never heard of it. I
Mm-hmm.
never heard of anybody in this field. What led you to this type of business,
Yeah,
which is the
absolutely.
paternity DNA?
Yeah, absolutely. So my mom, she still runs her own paternity testing service. She's been doing it for a little over 20 years, or a little bit under 20 years, like right at it. Um, she started her business after her brother got into a paternity situation, and she saw just kind of how messed up things were and the lack of information that was accessible, especially for Black men. So she started her business 20 years ago. So I grew up seeing her build.
Seeing it.
Yeah, I saw it. Now, was I 100% into it growing up? No, I was not. But I saw my mom start it, be with multiple labs. I mean, do her advertising in the white pages, the yellow pages, go on radio stations, V103 in Atlanta, like talking to Ryan Cameron and all of them, like all that. I saw her do that. And
Hmm.
so what I did was, after I graduated college 9 years ago, I helped her get into the digital age. So helped her get on Google My Business, helped her build I literally built her website, keywords, SEO, all that stuff. I did all that stuff for her, helped her get into the digital age. And yeah, and just stuck with her and listened to her as she told me these stories of her business. There were some days where I remember my mom would come home and be like, "I made $900 today," and I'm like, "Wow, all right, cool." But ultimately, my wife and I, we were working on doing a mobile home deal in Virginia in 2020, like June 2020 timeframe. And it just wasn't working out, man. Like, people were wanting too much for their mobile homes, like mobile homes on in a park. They're wanting, 30, 40, 50, $60,000 for a mobile home. And I was trying to buy one and basically rent it out or flip it. We didn't have enough cash for that. We didn't. It was just ridiculous, and we were actually trying to do a deal where we had it kind of sort of under contract, and just, it was a title situation. It was just annoying as hell, man. I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. I was like, hey, I told my wife, I was like, yo, let's start a DNA test. Let's start a paternity testing company like my mom. She was like, yeah, I told you about that a year and a half ago. Um,
She
she told me
told you
about,
about it a year and a
she
half.
did. Yeah.
Wait,
She was
my
like,
mom was the like.
yeah, exactly. She, a year and a half prior, when I was in Fayetteville, North Carolina, she was like, hey, you should go hard with the paternity, because I was helping my mom do Google ads and everything. And she was like, yo, you should do your own thing. And I was like, nah, I don't really want to do that. And quite frankly, I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't ready for something like that yet. You got to be ready. And fast forward a year and a half, I whiteboarded out. I tell her, hey, let's do it. She's down with it. She didn't rub it in my face. She didn't say, I told you so, this and this and that. She was like,
Mm.
okay, cool. We're ready now. Let's do it. Let's take this money that we were going to do with the mobile home here. And I was like, let's put it into advertising. Let's do this. And here we are 13 months later, man, with Assurance DNA. And we have done DNA tests all over the country. So long story, but just
Well,
like,
we're gonna get into that.
yeah.
So before we move on, you were saying that those prices that they was asking for those mobile homes was too high. Like, not to get off on a tangent,
Yeah. Yeah.
but what's a good price for a mobile home? Like,
You
because you
know,
said
yeah,
30 30,000 was too much. Like, what's a good
yeah.
price?
So in my experience, it honestly depends on what the seller believes their mobile home is worth. Now, here's the thing: is like, if it's a mobile home in a park, as in you the seller nor you will ever own that land. If it's in a mobile home park, it's essentially treated like a vehicle because it's part of the DMV. Essentially, you register a title and you go to the DMV to register. There's no deed or anything like that. So there's no inherent valuable land underneath that mobile home. So if you're asking me to pay you $60,000 cash for a mobile home that you bought in 2015 or something like that, like, no, I'm not doing that. These things depreciate at a rapid value. Like, no, I bought a mobile home in Fayetteville, North Carolina, off of Facebook Marketplace for $2,400 cash. All right, like, and I rent it out for $650 a month to this day. Okay, so now why would I pay $60,000 for a mobile home in a park?
Wait a minute, time out. You're not about to skate past that. Nah, you ain't about to do that. What?
Yeah.
See, Facebook Marketplace is a hack.
Yeah,
that is a hack.
Yeah. You know, I haven't really been in the mobile home game since I started Assurance DNA. If it's, you can look up and find some good stuff, man. If you can find a direct seller, like somebody who is actually not a wholesaler. I mean, unless you want to do it a wholesaler, it's cool, fine, whatever. But if you can find somebody who's selling their mobile home either on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or even OfferUp, because you can do that. It's essentially like a car. Yeah, bought that thing late 2019? Yeah, $2,400.
$2,400. I'm pretty sure it needed some work too, right?
It needed some work, and I put too much work into it. And that was another lesson, and I always talk about that. First off, shout out. Yeah, I put too much work. Shout out to the mobile home elite investors, Byron sellers and soon to be Charnice sellers. I think they're getting married.
Okay.
Great folks. They started the mobile home elite investors course, and you know, I just learned about that, man. I was like, man, people buy mobile homes and rent them out. That's crazy because you don't need a mortgage, man. You don't need a mortgage. You don't need none of that stuff. You just buy it cash or seller or owner finance or whatever. Something like that. So bought it $2,400 cash. I put $8,000 into it. I took out a loan from my military 401k to buy it and to renovate it. And to this day, I call her my tenant owner because she's not just a tenant. She's paying it off like a car. It's like a note. And once she pays it off, I will transfer the title to her. She will own it. So to this day, she pays me weekly. Her husband get paid weekly. She just sends me the money weekly, and you know, I don't really have to deal with maintenance because I have it written in the contract and all that stuff. And yeah, it's a great, truly passive investment, and I use that to even fund. Yeah, some of my Assurance DNA stuff. I'm drink some water real quick, but yeah.
Yeah, man, that's one thing I always talk about. Not only me, but shout out to Charles, Todd, Billy. Like we always talking about using your money to make more money.
Yeah.
Like we need to collect these assets. Like money sitting in the bank.
Yeah,
it's dead money. It's not going to be worth the same. It's not going to buy the same amount of stuff next year.
You got to put it to work, man. And that's
unless it's emergency fund. Like don't.
Well, yeah. If it's an emergency fund, you know, don't. Me personally, I'm not putting my emergency fund in crypto or nothing like that. I know there are people who do that. I'm not doing that because that's my wife's money too, and she ain't down for that. We keep that in a stable cash, all right? You know, and we're not doing
money
that.
Market or something.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it there. We're not putting it in the stock. We're not putting nothing like that. But that's how. But yeah, that's how it was, man. Like we pivoted essentially, and it is nothing. Another thing too for entrepreneurs, there's nothing wrong with pivoting. I think there is something wrong with shiny object syndrome and seeing something new on the timeline or on Instagram or TikTok every single day, and then you want to change up what you want to do every single week. That's a no-go, you know what I'm saying? But if you honestly like, okay, let me pivot to something else and truly work at it consistently and have a plan, then that's cool. And that's what we did. We switched from mobile homes or mobile home investing to Assurance DNA, and it has worked out very, very, very well, you know.
Fire. You got to find your pocket because I was having a conversation with Andre Hatchett.
Yeah, and I love that. That's a good brother right there, man.
Yeah, man, that's brother Dre. So, he was telling us that he had another business prior to him doing notary. But he pivoted because it was slow. It was slower than he wanted. You know, I guess what his goals were. So he He
Yeah.
pivoted over to the notary, like totally changed all his content, like just started promoting notary versus real estate.
Yeah.
And um, he said that took off. So
Yeah.
guess what he's doing now? He's
Yeah.
doing notary.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it was a quote, the guy, what's his name? Bruce, my bad, Bruce, if you're watching. Bruce was saying we have to say, or we have to quit sooner.
Mm.
Hold up, you got to quit sooner. And that's what where the pivoting comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Because a person will try, that'll be their baby and they'll try to hold on to
Mm-hmm.
something that's not working.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's where that quote came in. Sometimes you have to quit sooner instead of hanging on to something that's not working. Now, I mean, I guess of course, there's a time frame on that. You don't want to be, you definitely want to see if it works for
Yeah,
a
let
certain
it
amount of
build.
time.
Let it build.
Right.
Give it time. You know what I'm saying? If it's not meeting the goals that you set for yourself, truly is not. And it's literally bleeding money out your pocket. Now, unless you're like a Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos type dude, where you're like, yo,
Right.
this is my mission, and I'm going to make this work come hell or high water. If you can't take that type of risk and you have tried it, then all right, cool. Like, fine. But don't switch up the game every 3 days. I'm gonna do options, then trucking. Then I'm gonna try, oh man, Roll put out this DNA course. I'm gonna buy that. And I'm gonna never actually watch the course, but I'm gonna just mentally masturbate. I'm not saying anybody has done that in my course, but still, I'm gonna do the notary thing. Then I'm gonna do, duplexes. And it's just like, yo, stick to one thing, man. Stick to one thing.
You'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. It's the I don't know where it came from. It seems like it accelerated during the pandemic. People trying to get rich quick.
Yeah.
If they don't make $100,000 in a month,
yeah,
they move on to the
Yeah.
next thing.
Yeah.
And that's not how it works.
Oh.
Like, I don't know who's passing off this narrative that, I mean, there's some influencers that's passing on the narrative that, you can get rich quick or whatever the case may be, but that's a false narrative that we got to kind of like show the struggle, but there's benefits in the struggle.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man, as we continue on down these questions of the DNA test and how I got to a $10,000 a month in DNA testing.
Oh yeah.
It's because of that
so
persistence. You know what I'm saying?
We getting there. Yeah, we just kind of went off on a
No, it's good. I like it because it's a
these are healthy
conversation. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Not everybody's with this, man. So I definitely appreciate your energy.
Yeah.
So you said your mom was in it, so you were already exposed. So that's how because I was in the family business, pretty much all my working life, working with my dad in the barbershop.
Okay.
So that's how I became a barber.
Okay.
I didn't want to be a barber. I just kind of fell into it because in high school, I was ripping and running around doing bullshit, and I got suspended from school for 10 days. So my mom was like, "You ain't staying in my house for 10 days while I'm at work.
You got to go do something.
You going with your dad." I'm like, "My who?" I'm going with my who? So that's when I got exposed to the industry, just like I guess you got exposed to your mom's situation. That's dope.
I tell you what, so generational wealth is not literally just money, like actual money, but it's knowledge and relationships too. So perfect example. I hadn't even said this on a podcast before. This conversation is drawing stuff out of me, which I like. So, like I said, my mom's been doing it for 20 years, been partnering with a lab for 20 years, right? The thing is, when you set up your DNA testing company, you have to partner with the laboratory. That's just part of it. You are not a laboratory. You're not going to own one. You're probably not going to buy one unless you're a multi-hundred millionaire. Okay. So you partner with the laboratory. I called up the laboratory to partner with them. And because they knew my mom, they're like, oh yeah, you good. Yeah, we'll give you the same rates we give her off rip. Like, oh yeah. So yeah, that's your mother. Yeah, for
Generational
sure.
influence.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I would not have been able to do that if I would have just came off the street
Yeah, that's
trying to get
fire.
that. Yeah.
Ooh,
That was
that's
a
a
huge
whole
advantage.
bar.
That was a huge advantage, man. And just, I mean, I still had to go through the process of partnering with that laboratory, signing the contract, doing my due diligence, reading through the contract, all that stuff. But I swear it shortened that time significantly, man. I swear it shortened it significantly. Oh yeah, your mom? Yeah, we got you. Boom.
Yeah, that's a key element right there. A lot, like we always talk about generational wealth, but some of the elements of that are, being tied to, I guess, the influence of which your parents or whoever established whatever they established. Because there's some rooms that I can get in now because, oh yeah, you Mr. Mike's son.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
my dad didn't create that influence to pass on. So that's part of it, man. And that's pretty dope, man. So is this business, the DNA paternity testing business, is it mobile? Can you like do it anywhere in the world?
Yeah, I can. So I actually can be physically mobile and do it. I've done paternity tests in a parking lot at a FedEx. I physically, I can be mobile. I also have an office to where people can come to me and do the office. I also have a network of collection facilities around the country that I can call up in 60 seconds and arrange a DNA test wherever in the whole country. So essentially, it is a nationwide paternity testing service that I offer that is interconnected with a network of DNA collection facilities as well. So a lot of
Okay.
outsourcing and coordination with that aspect of it.
Yeah, because during the pandemic, a lot of stuff became digital,
Mm-hmm.
and we were able to do a lot of stuff remotely. So I was just curious if that was one of those kinds of businesses
Mm-hmm.
that you can do from wherever. But you have to have a location. Um, wait, you
No.
don't have to have the location, but you have to have partnerships with locations.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect example. We got a call from a client. Now, granted, today I got a call from a client from a different area code, right? So what I do is I look up the area code. I thought this client was in another state, right? Turns out the client was in my city, but regardless, my wife was like, hey, actually the inquiry came in on my website. So I told my wife, hey, go ahead and call this person, figure out what she wants. But the area code was from an Ohio zip code, right? So I was like, okay, I went in setup mode. So I just called up a facility out there, never talked to them before, but I know who to call and what exactly to say to them. Hey, I got this. What's your fee? I'll send you the case number, yada, yada, yada. They're like, bet, send it over, email whenever you're ready. 60 seconds, done. I can set up a collection anywhere in the country in 60 seconds, essentially. Now, granted, the lady ended up being here. So we can take care of it here with no issues regardless. But yeah, as long as you know how to tap into those different locations and know what to say, you can do a DNA test anywhere in the entire country.
Fire. So did you have this business in 2020?
I started it December 3rd, 2020. So it started moving in January, February 2021.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you were in the heart. You started just in the heart of the pandemic.
Yeah. Facts. Yes.
So you were one of them ones. You wanted one of the ones that took action during the pandemic, more
Immediate
during
action.
the pandemic.
Immediate action, man. Yeah, action, man, for real. And then, like I said, just sticking with it, just being consistent through it all, man, through everything.
What was the pressure though? Because you're an Army officer, you got two properties. Like it's not really like you were down in dumps. Like
Yeah.
what was the motivation for you to like? What was it? Was there any pressure? Because people don't usually do anything until there's some type of motivation or pressure. So what was that for you?
Yeah, man, that's a really good question. Man, I'm really trying to build something, man. Like the I guess the pressure or the influence on me working so hard at this is to eventually, if I decide not need the government anymore, to work for them anymore. If I choose to, you know what I'm saying, to retire early. So that's the goal, and to have that time freedom back. You know what I'm saying? To have that to where I can go spend however much time with my future kid or my wife or whatever, anytime I want, how I want, without looking at a price tag.
That time freedom piece.
That's it.
That time freedom piece. Oh
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yo, that is so undervalued. The
I
things
mean,
that you can do when you got time.
It's not, the money is cool because I like seeing the bank account build up. I like seeing sales. I actually like talking to clients and helping to solve it. I actually like that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But the money is the tool for me to keep stacking and get to the point to where I can buy my time back. I can literally, I like, yo, I'm cool. I'm good. I don't need this no more. I'm great. I got it from here. I was just talking to my wife before we started this podcast. We watched a show on Netflix about different Asian cities at nighttime, the nightlife and stuff like that. And we was like, yo, we could basically run a DNA testing company from Thailand if we want to. And we can just take that, we can live off that DNA money and live like royalty. For real.
It goes, man. It goes. And that's the pressure in itself. That should be pressure. Like, but it's a lot of people don't have those initial goals that's going to put pressure on them. So that's key too. We have to normalize wanting more.
Yeah.
We be content a lot of times. We be content because our bills are paid, and and we just, some people just good with that.
I was never a content type person. Like, even as a kid, bro, I mowed lawns as a kid. I was always entrepreneurial. I always wanted more. I want fly shit. I'm not gonna lie. My stepdad took me to a car show. I saw a Lamborghini Diablo in 1999. I thought that was the fly shit in the world. I want that. I want, like, I do. I'm not gonna lie. I want nice stuff too. I got a chain. I want more chains. That shit's cool. That's cool. That's great. You know what I'm saying? You can't take with you when you die, etc. But ultimately, like I said, I am driven by that time freedom. I am driven by, I went to the Bahamas for my honeymoon in October, so I took 3 weeks off, 3.5 weeks off of work. And I'm sitting there, and that's really, really when I got energized for real. I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, this shit is fly. This is what I want right here, man. Just being with my wife and my future kids at some point in time on an island or whatever. It could be sitting on my doggone porch somewhere in Georgia or North Carolina somewhere, but just my time is mine. You know what I mean? And all it is growing. Is if I can trade off taking a lot of time to grow this business and build it and build the systems and to where it brings me $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month, I'll do that. I'll do that for the next 5 years. And that's my goal.
Yeah, but guess what, man? Like we just was talking about, that is super dope in theory. But like I said, for some reason, even the adults, I would expect this from kids, like adolescents, that don't appreciate the grind for the goal. It's like, it's not going to happen overnight. I'm going to sacrifice. We don't have to go to Mr. Child's every time it's somebody's birthday.
Yeah.
We don't have to do all this. It's dope. We want to do it, but time out. Right? We want X. We got to get the X. Time out on that shit right now.
Yeah.
But people be wanting to, they want to do both.
This is lack of delay. Now, granted, I'm not perfect. I suffer from a lack of delayed gratification myself sometimes. I'm not perfect.
Sometimes,
I'm working.
Yeah. We get it though. Like,
yeah. But I get it. Like, I'm like, oh shit, I got this thing. So now I need to go harder at my business and make up for that time so that, the business, the income from that will replenish that. Like I said, I know it's like, I'm guilty sometimes, spank me on the hand or whatever. But I'm still driven by that goal of time freedom ultimately.
Word. So 2020. So you're self-motivated. Everybody, some people are self-motivated because I'm kind of self-motivated, but you know, we all have those stints of I ain't doing shit today.
Yeah.
But you sound self-motivated. So it wasn't a lot of uh, some of the other pressures some other people had during the pandemic to start the business. Everybody got a different reason. So you had self-implied pressure in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the dope things about your business that others may find dope and may want to start looking into doing this?
Well, I would say, so for example, you hear a lot, hey, get seven streams of income, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the standard reply is you don't do 7 streams of income from 7 different businesses or sources or whatever. You don't start up 7 different companies, but if you can streamline all that and have 7 streams of income within something or have it in a silo in a way, that's the best way. So with DNA testing, there's at least 7 to 8 sources of income just within DNA testing. So it's not just your, you can get a standard DNA test, but I can name them off right now. Standard legal, informational, non-invasive prenatal paternity, deceased, immigration, siblingship, grandparentage, avuncular. That's at least 8 right there. That's 8 right there. 8 sources of income.
One business.
From one business right there. 8 sources of income from one business. Just like how in the notary business you can do wills, power of attorney, mortgages, stuff like that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's at least eight. So you got twin zygosity and discrete as well. So that's 10. All right. I usually do the top 3 that I name. So that's a dope that's a dope aspect of the business because you charge different fees for each of those services. And the thing is, you don't have to use a lot of different materials to do those services either. And some of the same materials is literally just writing on a piece of paperwork, this is for this, and sending it into the laboratory. And you can charge an extra 100, 150, 200, $1,600 for a specific type of test. It just depends on what the client needs.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's super dope reason to take a look at that. And you hit that right on the head, man. You don't have to be in 7 different industries. Mm-hmm. You lock down that one thing and then create branches off of the one thing. So you don't have to be all over the place.
And like even within my Assurance DNA, like you said, I have those sources of income. Overall, I have Paternity University, and then I have Gray Helix that I'm building. And Gray Helix is a software as a service specifically tailored towards DNA agencies, specifically in that niche, helping them automate their product. It's a software that I'm building. It does not exist at all. So I own the IP for that. So just within the DNA testing world, I am building different companies just within that. And like I said, within one, there's 8 sources of income. Within Paternity University, there's other sources of income. And within Gray Helix, there's going to be that software income that I'm expecting.
Gray Helix. I'm gonna look out for that. Y'all look out for Gray Helix.
It's on the way, man. It's the minimum viable product is on the way. I give it about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
Oh man, you cooking, bro. So wait a minute. Time out. Wait a minute. What they call it? MOS in the military? What was that?
MOS?
Yeah,
MOS. I'm a public affairs officer, so I'm basically the Army version of public relations.
Okay, so where did tech knowledge come from?
Honestly, man, it's when you ask me what I'm driven by too. I'm driven by time freedom, but I'm also driven by solving a problem, right? So I noticed a problem in my business. Is that I was using a bunch of different systems and texting and calling people and emailing and sending an invoice with this thing and that thing. And there wasn't a system specifically catered towards the DNA testing industry that had everything under one roof as one software that you can download or that you can not download, but have on your phone or on your computer on the go. And I contacted a couple of other DNA agencies that do DNA testing, and they're like, yeah, we just kind of use this and just fly of the wheel. We got to log into all this different stuff, this and this and that. And I was like, well, would you use a system that consolidated everything into one? They're like, yeah, we would. We pay X amount a month for it. I'm like, all right, bet. So I found a guy. He's not really. He doesn't. I don't. His name is SaaSwiz on Twitter. SaaS Wiz, WIZ, SaaSwiz. He had a course on how to build your own software as a service. He actually took down the course recently because he just like, fuck it, I'm gonna just focus on building my own software company. But a software as a service, people, some of the tech people that might be listening to this, is basically a software that you use specifically to help you automate something or build something. So he has something called Scrapegram, where it's a software where you go in and you can put in either hashtags or Instagram handles or whatever, and it's an automated software that he built that'll scrape their email addresses, export it to a list, and you can cold email those people for whatever type of sales stuff that you want to do. Okay, so that's a software as a service. So Gray Helix is a software as a service to help automate some of the tasks in the DNA testing business. They're a little bit different from some other businesses. So I'm creating that. Yeah, people could say, oh, well, how about you just use, I don't know, Asana or Tableau or whatever other software. And the thing is, a lot of these companies don't even know what the hell that is. I'm offering something that they've heard of for the very first time. So, and it's going to be building up. So hopefully it's successful.
What's the difference between a software as a service and a CRM?
It's, to my knowledge, it's the same thing. Some CRMs you download on your computer. That's more, I think, a platform as a service, but it's essentially the same thing. This is a CRM that automates a service, but ultimately it is a software as a service. And like I said, I'm not a tech person. I hired a tech consultant and a developer out of India to build the whole thing. I just had the idea, and I'm like, I don't know how to code. I don't know how to do none of that shit. But some of the folks.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
You got to give up that game. Where can someone start the process? Let's just assume we're gonna get back on this DNA, but you done went down a rabbit hole. So
I tell you what I've learned so far, man. I would say I am not a master at it. I will tell you what I've learned so far for sure. Yes. So
no. What I was going to ask was, how did you go about, or who would someone contact, or what's the steps that someone would take with trying to get a software off the ground?
Service built. Yeah.
Built, yeah.
Like I said, I wish SaaSwiz still had his course up, because that's literally going through that course, dude. That literally, and so
wow.
Yeah, okay. That course had literally all the answers, like in a way better form or fashion that I could even describe. But basically, if you want to build a software, what the common thing is, don't reinvent the wheel. You may not build the next Facebook. You may not, but you can build a software that automates a task for a business and make it a B2B software. So I don't know, let's just say if there's something in the dental industry, there's a dentist office or somewhere, they have some tasks that are not automated that they could possibly automate using a software. Well, you would build that software to solve that problem for them and sell that software to them. So what you would do is I literally wrote out on a Google Doc the problem. Like the document is titled The Problem. Here's the problem. This.
Okay, outline it.
Here's how we're going to solve it. That. Here's the process. I made a flow chart. It does this, it does that, it does this, it does that, it does that, it does this, and it does that. Okay, cool. Literally just drew out the problem. Luckily, I have a friend who I met through another mastermind that I created with another friend, okay, who is a software engineer. Yeah, he's a software engineer. So I hit him up, bro, how do we do this, man? Like, what's up? Now, granted, I took SaaSwiz's course, so I kind of knew what to say. And SaaSwiz in the course, he outlined, here are the different programming languages that you could hire somebody to do. You know, you got JavaScript, JS, Node, and MongoDB. Well, I'm sorry, that's a database. Python, and all these other programming. You don't have to know how to do that stuff. But what you do know how to do, if you don't know how to do it, maybe if you have a friend who might be a tech person. Luckily for me, I had that. He literally helped me interview different developers that applied for the job that I put on Upwork from India. And he helped develop the questions. I had no idea. I was interviewing these people. I had no idea what the hell some of this stuff was, but the questions that he would ask, and I would record those interviews, get them back to him. And he'd be like, okay, this person's good. Yeah, let's hire this developer to make this. And he communicates directly with that developer. We have a Slack channel. He's like, hey, do this. He uses different software like Asana and GitHub to basically communicate with that developer, and he knows exactly what language when I say tech language to say, hey, I need you to do this, do that. And I pay for the whole thing. I pay my friend, the consultant, and I pay the developer. You're going to need, I would say, at minimum, maybe $4,000 to build a software. Now, to build a simple software, to build a simple SaaS to do B2B stuff, you're going to need that at minimum. You don't need to get like VC money from Silicon Valley and Andreessen Horowitz, or
Right.
you don't have to fly to fucking the Bay Area to, you don't have to do that. No, man, just you got the money and you know what you want to do, you hire a doggone developer to do it for you. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. That's all I did. You know, I had a buddy of mine who was like, yeah, you got to get on LinkedIn and like contact the CTOs of these companies and wait 5 years. And I was like, nah, man, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna just build this.
Yeah, wait,
I was like, nah, man. And then I don't want to take VC money. And then they'll own equity share in my company. No, man, I want to own 100% of my shit. So, you know.
So developers, and what's the guy? What you title your guy?
He's my tech consultant. So essentially, if I were to turn this into a full corporation, he'd be my CTO, my chief technology officer. He'd advise me on everything tech related.
Okay, taking notes. So I asked one of the guys I talked to a few weeks back, who I was talking about the CRM with. They created software as a service, I'm assuming, called HiveMind.
HiveMind, yeah. HiveMind is a software, is a SaaS, yes.
Okay. Yes. And they were saying, because I asked them the same question, and you pretty much gave me the same answer, but he told me it cost them $100,000 to get the kinks out of it.
Yeah. So it depends on.
They said the program was already made. The program was already made. I don't know. I guess I wasn't asking the question correctly, but I wanted to know, where did you go to inquire about the program? Like, he says programs already made. You just have to buy them.
Yeah. In SaaS was his course. He says you can go, there's different, I think it's called SaaS Pegasus is one that has a template of all the code for some of the basic things. I think if I'm understanding your question correctly, so instead of building a software completely from the ground up, like coding it, I'm talking coding, press this button to go back, or press this button to submit your payment for the software per month, for your subscription. They're called boilerplates or templates that you can buy online that has a lot of that code already kind of written. And then you plug in the rest of your customized stuff that you want the software to do. So I paid for something called MERNKit, like $299, and that gives me the code, it's like in JavaScript or whatever, and Node and all this other shit. And it already is an existing code. So that cut my developer hours down significantly to where it would only cost me at most $4,000 to make the thing, as opposed to 15 or 20. Because if I were going to have the guy code the thing completely from the ground up.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So what's the name of that site?
One is called SaaS Pegasus, and the other one is called MERNKit, MERN Kit. They're not sponsoring me at all. So I'm just giving
MERN
Kit. Yeah. MERN Kit. So those are called boilerplates. And there's other boilerplates out there too. And that's the back end stuff though. So the back end stuff is the code that makes the thing work. Right now, I'm focusing the back end's about 95% done. There's a couple of things that we're working out. And like I said, this is a minimum viable product that we're making. So this is not the full, when Facebook came out, it wasn't like Facebook as it is now, right? This is something that people can test and use and say, oh, this works. And then we add features on as we go on. And that, But
Okay.
this is the minimum viable product. So it's a simple software that automates some things. But yeah, MERNKit, SAS Pegasus, there's a couple others. And like I said, that's the back end stuff. The front end stuff, the pretty stuff that you see, that's front end coding. That's the visual, that's UI, that's user interface. That's the pretty stuff. I've worried about the back end. Does the shit work? Okay.
Right.
Does it work?
Yeah.
Is it secure? Okay. And then we worry about the front end stuff, the landing page and all that other pretty shit. I'm not worried about that right now.
Okay.
At the moment.
You just dropped some heat.
Yeah.
Oh,
and like
man,
I said, I only know like 5% of all there is to know about SaaS, if that. I just know what I know to get started and get going and know what I wanted to do. So the next part is marketing.
So I guess what would be some actionable first steps for someone who wanted to start DNA and paternity test business?
Yeah, get Paternity University. That's number one.
Okay, so you got a course. So
yeah,
all right, boom.
Yeah, I have a course. Paternity University is the first course in the world, verified in the world, to teach you how to start a DNA paternity testing company. It did not exist on the internet before.
You heard it here first on Rapping Doe, like,
and it's copyrighted. It's copyrighted, so don't try it.
Yeah, that part.
got with the lawyer and all that. So it is the first course in the world and on the internet to teach you how to start your own DNA paternity company. Okay. So I would start with that. Shameless plug, but it is what it is. Okay. In that course, it shows you what DNA paternity testing is different from genetic history testing like 23andMe and Ancestry. DNA paternity testing is relationship testing. Is that my father? Or is that my grandfather? Is that my son? Is that my child? Hey, I'm pregnant. Is this guy or that guy the father? That's what I'm doing. Okay. It shows you what it is, how to partner with laboratories, how to get your kits, your DNA testing kits up front at no cost to you, shipped to you, no cost to you. So your startup cost is less than $500. All my students say they paid less than $500 to start their business, less than. How to get yourself on Google My Business, Google Maps, how to do ads, how to price your services, how to do market research, how to do competition. And so it's the getting you started, how to talk to clients. I provide a client script, how to reach out to lawyers, family law attorneys and stuff like that. And it's everything in there, everything that you need to get started and get going, and to begin to scale as well. So I've had a couple of students actually today. I'm proud of them. And we have a private Slack channel as well. So yeah, I know I'm, shameless plug, but I mean, really, this is the only place where you're going to get this information because it does not exist anywhere else. You would have to go to an agency. You'd have to find them, find the owner, and then talk to them if they want to talk to you. That's the only way you get that information outside of this. All right. Well, that's literally tap in. Yeah.
Y'all better tap.
So we had a couple of students. I'm going to highlight. I love highlighting my students, man. It's like family for real, man. Really. Adonis PK, Big Easy DNA out in New Orleans, started his business late September, early October. He did $500 his first month in gross sales because he was trying to answer all the calls himself, and he was working a night job and he just couldn't answer the calls. Once he hired a virtual assistant, he did $4,500 in sales in December. Then he turned it up. First week of January, he did $4,800 in sales in the first week of January. First week, right? Month's not over yet. He's on track to do 7,000 in sales for the month, and it's coordinating. I think he does a lot of the tests, and then he coordinates some of the other tests, and I teach you how to do that as well. Another student, Jaquaria, started her business, DNA testing business, took the course, learned it. After she got her business on Google My Business, 48 hours after she got her first paternity test, made $350 in 25 minutes. Doing a DNA test, and a couple others, one out Watson DNA Services in the DMV area. They've done 3 DNA test cells since they've started. Another out in Phoenix got his first call today, which is we celebrate that too, getting your first call and getting the calls in because those are the leads. So to answer your question, the only place where they're going to learn this information to get this and have a community to share their wins, and I'm always on Slack answering all their questions, is Paternity University. That's the only place.
Paternity University, man. So I guess, I got maybe two more questions for you. I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah.
How often, like how I know it's a dope business, but I
Mm-hmm.
guess once you start drumming up the business, is it like a all day type of thing, or is it like do you have a blocked out day where you just do that, or is it just business can come in at a random times of the
Business can
day?
come in. Yeah. Calls. We had a call at 6:45 p.m. Mountain Time. You know what I'm saying? Like I need a DNA test or like I have questions. So at the moment for me, it's we get a steady drumbeat of calls that come in, and then the test it literally just depends on like the month or the time of day or whatever. It literally just depends, and it's also too with some people that want tests, they have to contact the other person to get tested. So they have to do their thing, contact the other person, bring that person in. It's a lot of coordination on their part. But for example, my mom, um, out in Atlanta, she's been doing this for 20 years. She gets on average now 15 to 20 calls a day. Just call. And then she'll schedule and she'll do on average, I think she's doing about 3 DNA tests a day now. Like 2, 3 a day, or like scheduling 2, 3 a day. And people are paying her $400 a pop for that at minimum, uh,
Hmm.
for the legal DNA test.
So
So
much money to be made, bro.
over
It's crazy.
time, over time, and this is why I tell my students, I say, try to focus on your city where you're at and your area, because over time, Google, they love the SEO, they love localized service businesses. And over time, you'll get to really know your city and your area and what makes people want to call, what works, what doesn't work. And you'll get to know exactly what they want when they call in. And then over time, it's a snowball effect, man. And the next thing you
Mm.
know, you're getting 20, 30 calls a day. And you're like, oh my God, like now I have,
Mm.
I said, luckily,
Gotta hire some people.
got to have a VA. If you work a 9 to 5 if you work a 9 to 5, it's going to be a challenge for you to operate this business because people call during the day. And if you're working, you got to duck out and answer your phone. I had to do that in the beginning. Then my wife started answering my phone calls, and that's when it went up. I was doing 4 or 5 figure months after that. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
you got to be able to answer the phone. I think I kind of went off on a tangent, but you're asking really good
Nah, that was good shit.
questions.
Nah, that was good shit. Because I was just, curious as, some people, some businesses are not daily businesses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
like in a barbershop, like I'm not guaranteed to cut 10 heads a day
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
until I build my clientele up, whereas though I know
yeah, yeah,
I'm going to cut 10 heads a day. So I
yeah.
guess it's kind of like the same thing. You have to build up your
It's the
clientele. So it might start
yeah,
off with one a
and a lot of your
day.
clients, it's one-time clients, man. Honestly, so it's a constant you marketing and getting your face out there, getting your name, getting your business name out there, and just you just got to get in front of people, get in front of the many people as you can in your city, and then the calls will start coming in. That's that consistent business, and people are always making babies and having questions, man. It just is what it
Right.
is. So it's going to be around. You'll be fine.
One thing I did catch out of that last statement you said was the VA piece.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you said once dude incorporated a VA, shit kind of like took off.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been on the. I'm like I ain't gonna say I've been on the fence, but I think I actually have to have a conversation with these VAs I've been rubbing shoulders with because it's some tasks that I'm about ready to delegate, and I think if I do offload that to somebody that can just focus on that, I think I could get some better results in my sales department. The reason why, I mean, because I'm kind of, I ain't gonna say spoiled, but I, I don't really have to sell products because that's not
Mm.
really where I make my money. I make my
Okay.
money trading options.
Okay.
Um, so that's one thing that has been kind of like, and I've been in my own way about. It's like, why not? Because the information is to help the people. So why
Mm-hmm.
should I not? I should be putting more effort into getting the information to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'll be better serving them by getting a VA because, sending out emails and checking
Mm-hmm.
emails, I'd rather not do it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Rather not do it.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so the VA piece, man, that's a takeaway for me.
Man, I'm gonna have to hire a VA at some point in time once my wife goes back to work. She's taking a sabbatical essentially after she got her master's degree. So she's at home and she can answer the business phone. But once she goes back to, I'm gonna have to hire. I literally cannot do this business without you have to answer the phone because there's other DNA testing agencies that don't answer the phone, and all you have to be is to be the person to get in front of them and answer the phone. You can make
and
thousands of
answer the
dollars a month.
phone.
That's literally it. It's not
That's
rocket
crazy.
science.
That's what's the name? One of the notary guys was talking about the same thing. He was like, "Yo, I call people with work and they
It's
don't
probably
answer the
Rafaniel.
phone."
It's probably Rafaniel.
Yeah, it was
He
Raffaele. He was
talks
like,
about
"Yeah,
all the time.
people don't be answering the
You just don't
phone."
answer the
I'm
phone.
like, "What are
Answer
we
the
doing?"
phone. Yeah. I be
What are
making,
you
I be taking
doing?
bans off of other people's mistakes. Like you just don't answer the phone. Like, okay,
Just because
I'll
you
do
ain't answer the phone.
it. That's literally it.
Crazy,
That's literally it.
bro. This was super fire. This is gonna be super fire for the people. But before we roll out of here, like, do you have any thing that you believe that people should take away from this conversation?
Yeah, man. I mean, we talking numbers and money and stuff like that in this business, but look, ultimately, you are dealing with people who are having some of the worst moments of their lives. Honestly, like, because it's a very serious situation that they're in. Either a man is questioning the fact that his wife may have stepped out on him and his 9-year-old kid is not his, and it turns out not to be his. That's some serious
Mm,
stuff. Or a woman is pregnant and she's had multiple partners and she wants to know which man is the father of that child. Or a child who is a grown adult, just like me and you, is trying to find their long lost father. They think they found him. He agreed to do a DNA test, and you have to deliver those results. This is not anything to play with. Like, yeah, money, cool, that's great, but you have to have. I said this on another podcast last night. You have to be a proactive communicator. You have to be emotionally intelligent, and you have to be empathetic as well to this in this
mm.
business. You can't just like there's a business. I'm not going to say the name of this DNA testing business, but apparently this business has been completely scamming people and ruining relationships and lives, man. Like, because they apparently just do a
It's one that
test.
everybody know.
I would know. I don't think everybody knows because if everybody knows, there'd be a class action lawsuit. I tell you that for a fact. But
Mm,
apparently, this
okay.
company, who will not be named,
Yeah.
coordinates the test, takes the people's money, and then stops answering the phone and just or delivers false positive results. So they'll get a result that say yes, he is the father. Then that person will go and do another DNA test that says no, you're not. No, he's not the father. You know how that affects people's lives?
Bro.
Like this is a serious thing, and so yeah, like I said, you can make some money if you do it right. So the reason why I personally I don't hold a bunch of sales for my course, or I don't want just anybody in this course because in a way I have a relationship with these laboratories. They're essentially y'all represent me when y'all go out and communicate with these people and build your businesses up. And if you can't operate with integrity or operate on your square, I don't want I don't want that. And you should not operate
Yeah.
in this business. This is a serious thing. So just take that in consideration um, when you're looking at getting into this business. If you don't want to really deal with people too much or deal with the emotions, you're not a therapist or nothing like that. But if you don't want to do that or you don't have the capacity, don't do it. Don't do it, or don't hire or hire somebody or get or partner with somebody who can do that, and you worry about the marketing and the strategy and stuff like that. So that's what I gotta say.
Fire, bro. Nah, man, this is crazy. I super duper appreciate you coming through, pulling up, dropping these bars about this game. Plus your insight.
Thank you.
I look forward to, chopping with you. You know what I mean, offline,
Yeah,
and
for
bring you
sure.
back. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And bring you back.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely, man. I really
but yeah,
appreciate
this
you having me on the show, man. I really do.
this was super dope. I can't well, actually, as soon as we end it, it's going out
Yeah.
to the world.
I
So
tweeted
this
it
is
when
the
we went live. I tweeted it out to my folks. So
okay.
yeah.
Well, just you know, people, this is the only place you can get this information. Shout out that website again.
paternityuniversity.com. And you can also, I'm very active on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter at Royal Skegee, Skegee, for my alma mater, Tuskegee University. You know, I'm on Instagram as well. You know, you can follow Paternity University on Instagram, TikTok, Paternity University, but I'm really active on Twitter, honestly. So hit me up there. And yeah, it's the only place where you can get this information.
Only place. So make sure y'all hit the like, subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Also, go follow Rap and Dough on Instagram and all platforms. Till next time, I'll see you on the next one.